welcome to the Lanier Theological Library and the Learning Center. We love this place. It's just beautiful. I hope you get a chance to see the library. I hope you get a chance to see the chapel. I know you will, because that's going to be part of where we end up worshiping, right? Over in the chapel. This is all very new. This building was built and opened about 18 months ago. And again, it was patterned after Christ College, which is the Harry Potter dining hall. If you didn't notice that, we don't have a sorting hat, but we've ordered that from over there. And Mark has a way of getting things when he wants to. But Mark and Becky Lanier send their greetings. They're our founders, as well as the Lanier Theological Foundation. We're so excited when Steve Moore and I began talking about the possibility of having you here. I was just extremely excited and grateful for the opportunity to make this happen. Holly Johnson over here, who's against the wall. Holly, if you would wave, everybody. She's the one that makes everything happen around here. So if you need anything, don't ask me, ask her. All right? She's the one that knows how to get things done around here. But we are delighted. This building is, again, patterned after Christ College. Mark and Becky love everything England and Cotswoldy. So some of you are in the cottages across the road. You've seen those. Others of you might just see them and wave when you go by. There's a pub over there, but no alcohol, sorry. But there's a beautiful pub over there called the Red Dog. I don't know if we're meeting over there. Have any meetings over there? Are we doing anything over there? Okay. I shouldn't have mentioned that. I'm sorry. Okay. I could tell by the look. I got the look, as it goes. I am an academic by training. I direct our academic programming here, which includes a certificate program, as well as amazing lectures that we do every year. We gather between 300 and 600 people, depending upon the lecturer. Our last big lecture was Amy Orr Ewing from London. If you haven't heard her, she's amazing. Before that, Tom Wright. You've probably heard him. He was amazing. We have some terrific people. This fall, we had Esau McCauley. We also had Gary Habermas here. And, who else do we have? We had somebody else. Who? Ben Witherington. He's not been here. We got to get him here. We had hoped. I saw him in San Diego that he'd be able to join us. We hope you enjoy this space. We believe that beauty and truth belong together, that beauty elevates us, that truth brings us higher as well. And those two things together enable us to learn, to know, to be understood, and to understand. And so I'm so grateful for this opportunity for us to be a part of this and to be able to think about vocation, to be able to think about calling in life, and to understand better what it means to follow Christ as a disciple, and to find our way back to Him when we have transgressed, right? So that's a part of what our ethos is here. You'll see the chapel, which is designed and built after a 500 AD chapel that was discovered in Tamarza, Turkey, by Gertrude Bell, who was an adventurer and traveler. She was traveling through central Turkey, Cappadocia. Tamarza is the city today in Turkey. And she discovered it in 1909. She stopped. She did some drawings. She promised to come back. But when they came back, all the stones were gone. And today it's Walmart, I think, something like that. No, I'm just kidding. It's a parking lot today, but all the building materials were taken and used for other building projects. We are in the process of building out another study center in Oxford, north of Oxford, a place called Yarnton. So you'll hear more about that from David Fleming tomorrow. We have a study center like this over there, 4 miles north of Oxford. Steve, thank you for this opportunity to say hello. I thought what we would do tonight is something a little special for our blessing, and that is to process. Can we process? Can Wesley folks process? Is that okay? We're going to process out to the landing out there in the stairway and sing the doxology. There is a 7-second delay in sound. We'll fill that place up really quickly. So we need all the sopranos, all the tenors, all the basses, and all that to join in and to sing. And who can lead that? Can anybody lead that? Who can? Okay, we have a leader over here. We'll do that. So let us stand where you are. We're gonna do a dinner here. It's by buffet, right? Out here, and we'll direct you right after that. Normally here in Texas, we let ladies go first, but I don't know. Do Wesleyans do that? That's a Texas thing. Let's process out to the landing out here on the stairway and grab a friend, hold a hand, and let's sing praises.
Date slipped out. Andy is the new president at Wesley Biblical Seminary and will be here off and on time. And we also had Phil Talon. Where's Phil? Right back here. Phil is the dean at Houston Christian, and Andrew Gabarino, who's the professor of Old Testament at Houston Christian, is here.
Chap Temple.
Chap Temple?
Yep.
Where's Chap? There's Chap over here. Good to have you, Chap. Oh, use the mic. Use the mic, yeah. Other guests that we have here. Oh, good. Yeah, I'll let you all introduce.
This is Jason Vick.
Tell them what you all are doing together.
What are we doing together? That's a good thing. Oh, okay. Well, Jason's not part of that, but I'm happy to introduce Jason Vickers, head of the Wesley House at Truett Seminary, Baylor University. So we're really glad to have him. He's, I think, kind of an honorary John Wesley Fellow. Yeah, what Steve is mentioning is that a pre-conference event to what we've all been at. A good number of our Wesley Fellows, plus some other guests, were part of the Dialogue on Race and Faith team meeting, which I think many of you have heard about our deliberations earlier, and celebrated our new book and documentary musical production, which Stephen Newby, where are you? Composed a musical oratorio specifically for that. So anyway, thank you.
Maybe the folks that were part of the dialogue, if you could raise your hand just so folks could know who that is. A number of folks part of that research.
One more thing for you all. He mentioned the library. It is closed tonight, so when you're meandering around, that's going to be locked. You can get in there tomorrow, and they're very particular. Be real quiet when you're going through there, because there's kids that are studying. So kids, young adults, all the adults. So, just a few brief words, please, for us, and
Thank you.
introduce your daughter.
Chapel Temple. This is my daughter Angela Temple, who's a John Wesley follow. Harvey is her maiden name. On behalf of Jason and Scott, just a word of welcome from Truett Seminary and the Wesley House of Studies. We are proud to be one of the co-sponsors of this event with the Woodlands Methodist Church, I believe. We had to look hard and long to find someplace more opulent than the Woodlands Methodist Church. And we found it here at the Lanier Center. Some of you may wonder, what are Methodists doing at a Baptist school? Well, we're doing very well, actually. Over 130 in the pastoral study program, over 75 in the MDiv and the DMin programs. And the Baptists have been more than welcoming to us. We are grateful to them. It's not always that way, is it? I happened to read some of a journal of a Methodist pastor in the 1800s, and he wrote in this journal, "We had a revival this week, but nobody was saved." And then he added, "The Baptists had a revival as well, but praise God, nobody was saved there either." So we are grateful for the Baptist Methodist partnership. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
We have one of the AFTE, that's the Foundation for Theological Education, the parent organization for John Wesley Fellows. And our board actually met this last week, and Anthony Lanier, who's one of our board members, is right here. You as fellows may want to thank Anthony and the board just for their work, because they do amazing work at helping oversee. That's great. Thanks, Anthony. And then Isaac Wardell. And Isaac, you may want to introduce folks. Isaac is the head of Porter's Gate, and he'll say more about Porter's Gate and more about, do you want to introduce your guests now, or do you want to introduce them in the... That's great. Okay, I think did we get all of our guests? Is that good? Any other guests?
Jack Jackson, will you stand up for us? And would you...
He's not a guest. So
No, but he needs to come up and say a few words real quick, because you're only going to be here for a little while, and we just want to say congratulations to you on your new position, and what an amazing thing that he is. If you did not know, he is now the president of FFE, and we are so excited for you. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here, too. Foundation for Evangelism, some of us are Harry Denman Fellows, and we're happy to be a part of this wonderful group. I think it was around 2004. Ted Campbell was just saying he's been part of this group for 45 years. I said, that was a good year. I remember it well. I was just graduated junior high. And so we work with seminaries across the Wesleyan family that are providing the teaching and training for evangelism for MDiv students primarily. So glad to be here. I really am excited to be in this role. And if you know people who are coming through or who you think are interested in specifically studies on evangelism and want to teach evangelism, then I encourage you to reach out to me or with the group here, because the Harry Denman Fellows program has really been a wonderful one, and some of us have been part of that. So thank you. Will all the Harry Denman scholars stand up? Got a number. There we go. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. We love that you're here.
That it, all of them? That's it. Okay. Good. Well, guests, we're glad you're here, but we're also going to let you go. You don't have to stay for the whole fellowship. So we'll let the fellows stay, and we'll kind of move up toward the front here, and then we'll kind of shift the room around, let them clear plates away, and regather here, and then have the Wesley Circle. I know, it really is. It feels some real. Isn't that great? Is that we saw the assets of Asbury continue to grow for a couple of reasons. Good management of our investment, our endowment. But the other is we received another grant from the Soma Foundation, and we received another gift that I'll let Ed Robb tell you about. And then I'll just let him say a couple more words about the board meeting. I may ask him a couple of questions. But Ed, let you make a couple of comments.
I'm going to look up how long I've been doing this, but I think it's about 30 years. For when my father, who had been doing it about 12 or 15, said, "I want you to be chairman," which meant he was trying to raise him money. and he wanted me to be the one to have to feel the weight of raising money. But we've had some good years. A few years back, we didn't bring on a new class of fellows. Once you bring on a class of fellows, you've got a commitment for 4 years, and you have to make sure you're going to have the funds there. But so it was a little, uncertain times. I thought, well, there's nothing wrong with saying we've completed our task, and you don't have to. I don't know that we're called for eternal life when we have a organization start. Some organizations, I think, make the mistake of presuming that they need to be forever and ever, but they don't. Nonetheless, we've had some magnificent gifts, which I've just taken as a sign that our mission is not over and that there's still a role for AFTI to serve. So we're in good shape right now, very good shape. Don't come asking for an extension or an increase, because that's when I'll say, oh, it's tough, it's rough. But anyway, I'm happy to report what Steve has just referenced, that we've had some good foundational gifts. We've had a family that's underwritten the cost of a fellow that will, in an endowed way. That's wonderful. And now, quickly about the last board meeting. It was about a week ago or so. And I don't know how in your life, in your world, how it's gone, but we discovered Zoom during COVID, and it is so easy and so much better than flying around from different parts of the country. And for years we'd meet at the DFW airport or Atlanta or Chicago for board meetings. You fly up, but Zoom. So I think next time we've kind of gotten lazy and done a lot of Zooms. We probably ought to get together again. But the real work of AFTI does not occur at the board level. Our role is to keep us on focus, what our mission is, and to keep us funded. So I'd say focus and funded. That's our role. The real work of AFTI occurs through fellows like you all who are on different committees, the scholarship committee, the academic advisory committee. That's where the Christmas conference task force, that's where the real work occurs. So for all that you do, I'll say thank you very much.
Now, Ed, say a word about 2 new board members coming
We just elected 2 new board members, and we're sort of Woodlands. Some of you know the Woodlands, and some of you you don't even know the Woodlands, but it's a community. And our church there has been involved with AFTI for decades. And we've become more, in terms of the board, I used to think we needed sort of a national board. It really just makes things harder. And I thought it would look good, to be somebody on the East Coast, somebody on the West Coast, and all this balance. And I decided after a number of years that doesn't matter. It's better to have functioning board. And it's easier when you're in proximity. Of course, now you could say, but what about Zoom? But forget that. Much of our support through the years has come through the Woodlands Methodist Church. And so these 2 new board members are also from the Woodlands Methodist Church. And one is a pastor. He's not our lead pastor, but he's one of our great pastors. And his name is Jeff Olive. And Jeff is represents younger. And he was, when Scott Jones was our bishop, Scott Jones just retired a couple of years ago from being our bishop. And he was on your cabinet. And so Jeff Olive will be one of our board members. I should have called you to make sure you felt good about it. If there are any things I need to know, just now thinking of that. And the other one is Mark Smith, who He's comes from Price Waterhouse Cooper, PwC, and tremendous guy, tremendous layperson. Grew up Lutheran, but we don't hold that against him. And he'd represent also a bit younger, okay? So we got both of those coming on board. That's it, Steve.
So one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Because people ought to know that, in a sense, a generation has now passed with the passing of someone in your family.
Oh, yes. My mother died a week ago Sunday. The bishop, I'm looking at Scott Jones, but Bishop Bob Hayes, who is a resident bishop at our church, did the funeral. And I told Bob, I said, Bob, you got to stay alive longer than I do, because I've had two sisters who've died in the last 2 years. So, and he did both the funerals. And Bob Hayes is a great preacher and a magnificent person. He'll be on a panel tomorrow. He did my mother's funeral, and she loved to hear him preach. He preaches the traditional worship every week at our church. And so she loves him. I think up on the, at the same level is Scott Jones for her. And Scott Jones came to see my mother when she was in assisted living a few years back while he was bishop. Didn't tell me. He just made an appointment and came to visit my mother. And that meant the world